Thank you for coming by. And Laura and I will make time. We will.
And Ella, maybe without Miranda. I'm
Ooh,
just saying, to start. I know she's a part of your family, too.
she is.
I get it. I get it.
But I will make time for Laura and I.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, folks. Well, this season 14 opener was certainly an eye-opening episode because Ella not only admits to avoiding Laura, canceling scheduled sit-downs, meetings with Laura's parents so they can all meet together, all in the name of being too busy with the church and, well, the help center and other obligations. But she straight up says, I don't like her. I can't stand her. And the most telling part about Elaine was saying that, could you please schedule, time for Laura to get to know her? She's a really nice girl once you get to know her. And yeah, I know she can kind of be a bit much. Well, she's my daughter, but just give her a chance. And please spend time with her without Miranda. And, well, that's one thing I got to give this episode credit for. And that's Ella realizing she played a role in this. Now, leading up to this episode, I was like, wait, why is like everybody coming down on Calvin in the finale about Laura? Like, you know what? You need to get your house in order and this, that, and the third. And it's like, but I mean, is it really Calvin's fault that Laura feels like she isn't part of the family, specifically when it comes to his parents? And a lot of people's like, yeah, Calvin needs to man up and, pretty much do what Marcus did in the Why Did I Get Married? When he set his baby mama and his wife straight at the same time. But I'm like, it's one of those things where even if Calvin like tried to get Laura and Ella to like do stuff together, it's really up to them to go through with those plans. Like, you can't force two people together and make them like each other. But Ella straight up admits that, yeah, I have been avoiding her. Yeah, I am busy and whatnot, but I've been like finding reasons to not spend time with her because I don't like her. And that's what really struck me when she was talking to Elaine at the start of the episode, because I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you got the Crowns, the Help Center, and this, that, and the third. But I'm like, it's weird to me how Ella seems to make time for everyone and everything else, including Miranda, but doesn't have time for Laura. But we finally get the answer why. So it just brings about the question of Miranda's position in the family. Now, yes, I am in complete agreement with the fans that regardless of her marital status to Calvin, or in this case being an ex-wife, she is still part of the family due to Christian. However, it's just crazy the heel turn that the fan base has, or the 180 fans have done from the earlier seasons, because remember what I said leading into like the back half of season 13? I said the only way for this wedding not to happen at this point is if they completely ruin Laura's character. And that's pretty much what they did. All in the name for fans to even cheer louder for Miranda, where it's like, go back to like season 9 and 10. Miranda was insufferable. She felt entitled. She was stalking Calvin. She was intrusive. She was pretty much Pepe Le Pew or Steve Urkel. She was pretty much like pulling a peppermint patty by inviting herself over to family events just to do it, to make Laura feel uncomfortable. And no matter how many times Calvin told his mom, like, okay, you got to stop, like, doing, you're doing too much with Miranda. Like, she's my ex-wife. And Ella would shut him down. Like, that is the mother of my grandchild. Yeah, but Ella, you doing way too much. Like, you're purposefully ignoring how your own son feels. This is the equivalent of the whole dynamic between Calvin, Laura, Miranda, and Ella. It's essentially like those memes you sometimes see where it's like, yeah, I'm going to be such a good boyfriend, or I'm going to be such a good girlfriend, that even after we break up, every holiday your parents or family be like, what happened to so and so? I really like that person. Even if you bring a new date home, that's essentially what's going on here, where it's like Ella is low-key going out of her way even more than Miranda, trying to make Laura feel uncomfortable. But this is some wild stuff, because to hear Ella, of all people, say she doesn't like someone is just so surprising. But when I look at the dynamic of these three, I remember back in those earlier episodes of the reboot, fans were like, look, Miranda, she needs to stop like popping up unannounced. She needs to, not hang with the family as much, because yeah, you are connected to the family, but only so far as it being the mother of Ella and Curtis's grandchild. Like, you constantly inserting yourself into situations, that's not a good look. And heck, they even had the episode where they called her out for constantly coming over to the condo unannounced. Yeah, it makes sense for you to pop up when your son is there, like, oh, I need to pick up something for Christian and whatnot. I mean, remember the first episode where Laura's parents were introduced? They were at the condo for dinner with Calvin and Laura, and Miranda rushed in there to, I think, pick up like Junior's like laptop or book. It was homework assignment. So she literally just burst in there, no knocking, no nothing. And then they were like, wait, so she has just free access to the place where you live at? That, man. Yeah, there was the episode where they made her get the key back and whatnot, but it's just one of those things where, yeah, Miranda, you could definitely see why Laura would be uncomfortable. But the writing didn't do any favors, because it was just weirdly inconsistent, where we'd have a couple episodes where everything was all chill, but then you would have Laura coming off as petty, and then you would have Miranda coming off as petty. The most recent petty Miranda was the one where Calvin is giving out wedding invitations, and keep in mind that I believe Laura was the one that made an invite for Miranda, but it's just weird. It really is. But Ella, even though you might prefer Miranda, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be unfair to Laura by straight up avoiding her and not getting to know her. Because imagine if, you sit on these feelings and you make zero effort trying to get to know Laura, and the wedding day happens and your son is married, yet you're still acting some kind of way towards her. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I could see Ella still being, the kind of person to avoid Laura. And even though it's questionable if they will have children, like, you can imagine the favoritism that would come from Ella towards Christian versus whatever child Calvin has with Laura. And then that would make her feel even more isolated and alone. So that's really messed up. But yeah, I think that even though Laura was disrespectful in the finale, you can't say there is some truth to what she's been saying about Miranda. You need to step off, because given the fact that she admits to avoiding Laura and canceling, this was the biggest revelation for me. Not that Ella doesn't like Laura, but the fact that she says that Elaine has said, Laura has made plenty of attempts to, get to know you and spend time, but she tells me you always cancel on her. Yeah. And Ella confirms it. Yeah, I'm busy and this and that. Yet when it comes to Miranda, like, well, we're going shopping or we're doing this and that. And remember the episode about the cinnamon rolls and whatnot, when Laura says, like, well, yeah, we're going to the wedding tasting. Oh, well, yeah, if you want me to go. And it's like, well, I mean, we agreed to go. So, and then she's so busy with the cinnamon roll thing. And it's like, well, baby, I can't do it today. What about tomorrow? And then Miranda's like, no, you can't do tomorrow. What about Thursday? Yeah, Thursday's good. Basically showing that not only did the whole Miranda cinnamon roll thing come out of nowhere and Ella made time for her, but they also have another thing on schedule for the next day. So Laura's going to get pushed to the back of the line. And based off the interactions between them in that episode compared to what we learned in this season premiere, it definitely seems to indicate that Laura already had a scheduled time with Ella, but then Ella just randomly had this cinnamon roll thing with Miranda, because the way this entire situation went down, if you remember back to my review, I said, now, one of my biggest questions is whether or not Laura told Ella the time and date, and it was unclear if that happened because Miranda, this whole thing with Christian's Bake Off, that seemed like a last minute thing. Like Miranda just rushed over there, Miss Ella, I need your help with something. And Ella, it was unclear she knew about the wedding tasting. Now, it seems to me she did and was looking for any excuse to get out of it. And that's what she did. And now you understand why Laura was hurt. Like I said in my other videos, the way she was disrespectful in the finale is inexcusable. But now I have a better understanding as to why she did what she did. So, yeah, Ella, like it or not, if, Calvin gets married, this is going to be your daughter-in-law. And you're going to have to get to know her. I don't know. Man, so this is going to be an interesting season. Like, Miranda does need to learn how to back off. And now we can understand why Laura is a bit more, insecure. However, at the end of the day, I do agree with some of the fans saying that, well, Laura, this is kind of what you signed up for. Your parents tried to warn you that there's a lot of baggage that comes with being with Calvin. So look at the fact that he has 2 sons by 2 different two different women. And what if you have a child? Like, how is that going to fit into the equation? So instead of, our daughter getting the whole pie, aka being married, so being, the wife to Calvin, being the daughter-in-law to his parents, she's also going to be sharing that spotlight with Miranda, despite being the ex-wife. She's never going to be first priority. And even when she has a kid, guess what? There are 2 other sons that fall to there's a lot. And look, I'm not downing people who blend families or, stepmothers, stepfathers. You do you. I know personally, I don't want a pre-made family. If I do get with somebody, if I marry the right woman and whatnot, that's just me, because I know there's a lot of requirements that comes to a situation like this. So I don't know. If we want to make a Beyond the Gates reference here, it's like when Haley was telling Nicole, I fell in love with an inconvenient man. Well, now you have to deal with the inconvenient consequences. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts. Does Miranda need to step aside? Does Ella need to make more of an effort towards Laura? We'll just have to wait and see. But I'm looking forward to the comments on this. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.